Hey, what it do, y'all? What it do? What it do? Just want to talk about something real quick. Yeah, that top tier conversation I heard the other day was so hypocritical. So I just want to bring it up because, I mean, what I mean by hypocritical was uh, both sides of the conversation was hypocritical, and I'm gonna explain why. I'm gonna basically do like a reaction video to it, but I'm gonna really explaining it in real time, versus other people that do reactionary videos. They just kind of facilitate that video. But y'all know me, I don't facilitate nothing over here. So we're going to check it out. Uh, by the way, those on the replay, I hope you like this video a lot. Yeah, I just thought I address this. I don't really get off into like what's trendy for real, but every now and then I like to put my 2 cents on what's been spoken and what's been heard about out here in these spaces. So those on the replay, you see the thumbnail, and I'm pretty sure this thumbnail has been replicated many times over by now. But just thought I kind of do my spin on it just because this is what's been going on out here. And, like I said, this is more of the social grifting that's been going on, especially concerning a lot of these relationship topics. All these people still think they have answers when all of them in reality are still answering questions with another question. Got me questioning things, but I got an answer for y'all. So let's check this out. I'll stop in between, give you my feedback on it. But here we go. I'm pretty sure y'all have heard about this top tier conversation lately.
Modern day women just don't qualify for the top tier men, and that is the truth.
You believe you're a top tier man? By what standard?
I'm 6'4", only about what? 8% of the entire world is 6'4". I make well over 100K a year, and I'm black at that. If you add that on, so just if we're speaking about those figures, the things that women are attracted to, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I'll let you do the math.
So we're going to start there. So basically, he just gave a rundown of kind of some of the manosphere slash high value man conversations, but now it's just called the top tier man conversations. So this notion about, still when it comes to dual mating strategy, that gals like the top 10% of men, and that guys that are in that top 10%, especially if he's black, they fit the criteria of making over $100,000. They're well over 6 foot, and all that good stuff we know about, right? And you know, so the hypocritical side to this, on his end, obviously, is a given. In reality, a lot of gals aren't really attracted to like necessarily that. They just see you as something that they have on the side. Like money doesn't really motivate a lot of gals as far as what they really want or need, especially if she's on the more worldly side and not on the spiritual side of things. So the fact that there's still this notion that gals want they want the top 10% of guys, I think it's a myth, to be honest. And actually, no, I'm gonna take a step further. I don't think it's a myth. I know it's a myth because that's not in reality what the opinion is being spoken about from the gal that decided to say something back about it. So let's hear her side of it, because even in what she said, there's a hypocritical side to this conversation as well. So let's hear what she has to say.
We go. What's your map saying? The conversation and the words that are coming out of the mouth of someone like you, I would never consider top tier. A top tier man is also a man that is extremely desirable by way of his character. A top tier man is
Okay, so let's stop there. So when it comes to character, okay, when it comes to character, so with a lot of girls that do say they desire a man's character, That's more of the older generation of gals. You'll hear some gals talk about character a lot, but the problem is, it's one thing to say it, it's one thing to be it, right? You can talk a good talk, but you got to walk a good walk, right? So some gals might want a guy with good character, but the problem is, if you wanted a guy with good character, you will make sure not to get him out of character when it comes to certain situations. Maybe it's the heat of the moment, but you will not try to put this man out of character. If you really desired a man with good character, if that was truly something you admired about a man. Once again, if you desire a good man with character or a man with character, you would not, and I repeat, you will not try to put him out of character, no matter what the situation, no matter what the situation is, especially in the heat of the moment. Let's keep going.
A man who displays a certain level of intellect that allows him to consider other people. A top tier man, they lead with love, not with dictatorship, right?
Key point right there. Lead with love, not dictatorship. But you see a lot of these gals that don't accept a man's love, especially as a form of leadership. Well, that's a problem too, because really it's more of, if you really listen and based on certain experiences you have, the way that she sounds, it sounds more like she just don't want to feel like she's in a dictatorship. But will that translate to you accepting his leadership with love? So there's that too. So I'd say a lot of this is sounds good what she's saying, but in actuality, based on what I just talked about, a lot of these gals don't really keep a man's character intact per se, as far as good times or bad times. They don't try, a lot of them will try to push a man's buttons. But then you also have it to where if a man is truly leading with love, she might not necessarily accept it, appreciate it, or reciprocate it, those important things. So it sounds good, but the reason for the hive going after this guy after he talked about the typical top 10 percenter, they got on him good. They silenced him pretty well because he had no rebuttal. Well, I wasn't there in the conversation basically with him. So, um, so let's continue to go on and let's continue to hear this gal talk.
They don't want to control their woman. They want to gently lead their woman. A top tier man creates space for a woman to feel good about herself. A top tier man supports the dreams and the ideas of a woman. A top tier man
And so we have to also watch this out too, because a lot of girls that do say that she want a man, and I'm just going off what she said. If we're really just going off what she said, not deviating that, the dreams of her doesn't involve the dreams he has. So with some gals, they'll get a guy that seems like he's top tier, only for him to pour all his resources into her without her reciprocate anything onto him, without her really imparting everything that he's done to support her. She puts back onto him. Now she actually is supposed to be there to be his helpmeet. See, if there was any notion of her being a helpmeet per se, it would have been said. It would have been said in this conversation, but at this time and given this recording, it doesn't really talk more about how she would support a top tier man, beyond just certain attributes about him that she thinks are things that she would be interested in. Like, um, I just don't get a lot of this supportive notion from her statement. No more did I get that from the guy that spoke. He's not really supportive of her being his woman. Okay.
prioritizes a woman. A top tier man is in leadership and working as hard as he is to give the woman the life of her dream.
And with all that stuff that you just said, that was just womanese talk.
Womanese is also 6'4", black, attractive. I don't know too many women in my circle who desire a 6'4" man still wearing braids.
And then that ends there. But I'll also say, unfortunately, uh, some gals still live in fairy tales. They might act like nowadays they don't want a guy that's 6'4" wearing braids, but a lot of them do, just giving the night. So it's really a game. It's all a game. So really what I get out of this is maybe a guy trying to look the part and not be the part. You get that too. You get guys that, I hate to say this, and I'm not saying this guy's on that wave, but Some incel guys that try their best to be what they call the top 10% guy. And you still don't get the gal that you always wanted, even when you do what you can to make $100,000, even if you're 6'4" and you got a career, you got cars, you got houses, and you still don't get the gal that you want. Because, if you in the game like that, the game is the game. Just because you got it don't mean they still gonna rock with you. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, and then of course going back to what the gal talked about as far as the attributes and things she wanted in a man versus just going with a top tier man or what she considers a top tier man. Even if she has that, that doesn't mean she will appreciate that or actually, when it comes to a real relationship, will this actually pan out the way it should. Like they say, uh, some things sound good on paper, right? So even with what she said and what he said, that all sounds good on paper, right? Doesn't mean he gonna get her at the end of the day, and it doesn't mean she really wants to be with him like that at the end of the day, you know. But I've always said in my content before, like, it's actually reverse regarding the dual mating strategy. Most of these gals aren't actually going after the top 10% of the guys out there. It's not like that. They're getting with most of the 90% of guys, to be honest. Uh, that's what it is. I'm not going to go into detail of that, but it's not what people think. Uh, you'll get a rare 10% guy, but it ain't the way you think it is. The way reality portrays it and the way social media got all these guys, I guess, giving them pep talks and wolf tickets regarding you need to go out there and be this best version of yourself, this top 10%. Even all that woke talk, that spiritual talk about what men need to do, and I guess that attracts women too. That's not the way reality goes. Uh, the way it goes with any way a gal is attracted to a man, it's like actually what Forrest Gump said. Life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. But I'll add to that. Hey, if that don't taste good, you just spit it out, per se. You know, you just basically whatever you getting with her, you don't have to get with her. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And I'd say, ladies, and of course, this is not to critique women in general. That's not what this video was about. For the real women that know what I'm talking about, you know that there's a double standards with what gals say they do want, uh, or what they feel they need. But in reality, a lot of them really don't go about actually appreciating that or reciprocating that in a relationship. Even if this guy has the good character as this gal talked about, and he leads with love and he's not a dictator, um, it still doesn't matter because she still has other issues inside and she'll just find other reasons to blame him. So it doesn't matter. So I think, to me, to be honest, it's about that love that y'all have for each other being top tier. It's not about a label that a man or a woman should have on themselves. If our love is not top tier, what are we doing here? Thanks a million.